I'm Sori.
That's
Harry. Super interesting and very fun to touch.
Hard time
transitioning. Not me. I don't know why bad things keep happening to us this week.
Yeah. It's not a good week.
Anyway, we have some good friends.
We do. We have some good friends for sure. This is Patreon pick. This is part of the. This is from the True Cult Alliance. Shout out to Damon Sage.
Yeah.
The good solid leader.
Yep. Hopefully it's a nice one.
It's a Patreon.
What's it called?
The Patreon crew. I'm pretty impressed with them, to be honest with you.
I know. We always find something interesting.
That and they're super systemic in the way they do it. They've got it down to a science. They're just very, very. It's very streamlined. Look, y'all, for $1, you can be part of a Patreon alliance, and you can pool your points together and get your songs listened to. That's the whole point.
Right.
But a real cool byproduct of that is that there have been Patreon alliances and sub-communities and chats and stuff that everyone's involved in.
They make friends. Yeah, it's cool. So.
Yeah. Also, check us out. We are podcasting. So if you're looking for podcasts, it's us, Vin and Sori. It's iTunes. We're looking to get into iHeartRadio pretty soon. So iHeartRadio, they could just stream it. So you just jump in there and it's going to stream an episode or whatever. So that's on the way. Big shout out to the big homie Pony for that.
Working hard.
Also, tomorrow at 10 p.m., we have our big announcement. So, channel announcement and all that good jazz. Okay, so this is the pick from the True Cult group. This is Samarithan. This is a doom metal band, I guess.
We still have Chip.
This is a doom metal band. I'm not particularly sure exactly what makes doom metal.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'll have to ask the guys about that. But anyway, this is Samarithan from Candlemass, which is interesting. You know, Samaritan?
It's not Samaritan, it's Samarithan.
Samarithan, yeah. I don't know. It might be about the Good Samaritan.
I thought I spelt it wrong, and then I was like, no.
Samarithan by Candlemass. Or Moss, I'm not sure. All right, you ready?
Go.
Go!
What?
I'm always like, when's the...
Yeah, when's the bad thing gonna happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, because I was gonna say before we started this, I was like, maybe doom metal means like something dismal in the lyrics, but nope.
Nope.
That wasn't there.
Dark are the veils of death, mourners lament, black candles,
I thought this was an
the
interesting
well of
song.
souls. Ugh.
Yeah.
Lucifer Rising is the 2008. So it's like, they're not a Christian band, I don't think. These guys are not a Christian band.
Maybe just everybody recognizes.
But I think that some of the stories that Jesus tells are so universal that you don't necessarily have to be a religious person to, to have that resonate with you or even act on it in your life and all the rest of it. Which, of course, I think that's a big misconception, is that if you're an atheist or you're not a Christian, that we automatically believe that you're the worst possible version of yourself that you could be. Of course, we go, of course people who are not Christians would do this good stuff. You're creating the image of God.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, in our experience, for whatever reason, the atheist and the black metal guy or the death metal girl would be more likely to do this shit than some of the Christians we've
Some, but there were some Christians.
I said some.
Yeah, there were some that would.
So and I'm still analyzing that whole situation that we've had in the last couple firesides where people have been extremely generous, and I know some of them are Christian and religious, but the vast majority of them aren't. We had a guy, and we're trying to, he's talking about his mom has a physical malady and he can't see her because he's got some disability issues, and like people were
donating for him.
We had
a bus ticket.
Yeah, and then we had last night we posted about a guy who it's actually pretty interesting that we're doing this now, but we had a vet who needs some help. And he set up a GoFundMe page, and I've been tracking the page, and some of our people have been given some pretty significant amounts of money.
That's cool.
So it's a very strange phenomenon where not really the atheist angle, but just the angle of people's willingness to give. I'm not very used to seeing that at this level.
Yeah.
People are amazing. So this song, it's very. By the way, I'll put the link in the description for the.
I mean, when you have thousands of people watching something.
For the guy who needs help, he's about to get evicted.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
When you have thousands of people there's a bigger pool to see the kindness of man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When there's 30 people in a room, well, you might get a generous one. Maybe.
Well, I've heard you say this, and I've heard other YouTubers say this, that when people are nasty, it's more of a it sticks with you more than when people are good. But I don't know, it's like the opposite for me.
Yeah.
Like the nasty stuff, I'm like,
Yeah, that stuff always just doesn't affect you.
But the good stuff is what affects me, where people are giving money to people or encourage. It doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't always have to be monetary, like being a good Samaritan. And we'll talk about the Good Samaritan in a second, but like, it doesn't always have to be monetary.
Well, yeah, like the other night when, the one person was saying how they're lonely.
Yeah.
And then people started jumping in and saying, hey, you're not alone, we're here with you, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then we had somebody in the fireside chat that hadn't been connected to a group or whatever, and I said, hey, if you want to be part of a group, and then sure enough, Tina tracks her down, and I'm seeing the talks, and they're, hey, how you doing? That's important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to write a check and send, but like bringing somebody in and taking the time to talk to them and all that, like that's that's some pretty big stuff that we're all caught up in as far as what we're trying to accomplish together as a unit, as a family, as a group of people that this crazy music is all brought together. It was I was listening to this song and I was the riff or the main guitar riff or whatever, and I'm like, okay, that's some Black Sabbath influence.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's cool because like I said on the interview that we did, I thought I knew. You didn't know anything about metal, and then you have all these old metalheads saying Black Sabbath is the foundation for metal, and then listening to this, I'm like, I definitely see the Tony Iommi influence here on guitar, and then they kind of did their own thing and made their own thing with it. They didn't just blindly copy it, and I was just like, whoa, okay. Because it's cool to like have that connection, that historical connection.
Oh yeah, when you know it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Before,
I can't really hear it. You know, some stuff is like real obvious to me, but I haven't heard enough of it to really, be able to pick it up. But when I do pick it up, sometimes I'm like, hey, it is fun.
Yeah, I definitely see some Black Sabbath influence here.
It's like what I loved is vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it? Did it sound like anything else? I felt like it was kind of unique.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, these guys are definitely their own style. I mean, I think everybody...
It's kind of high.
Well, I think everybody builds off of everybody else, you know what I mean? Like, we're not the first reaction genre, but I'm sure, we're obviously different.
Who was the first reaction channel you ever saw?
I don't even know the name of the channel, but just this very old person reacting to rap. MTV actually did something like this one time. It was way back. It was like very ahead of its time. Yeah, they would have the mother of the artist sit in with other mothers watching the song. So Biggie,
were they embarrassed at all?
No, Biggie's mom came on. Of course, Biggie had just died or whatever, and so everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is great." And the little white lady was like, I don't know why all those women are dancing half naked." And Big's mom was like, "Well, that's a life you live."
Yeah.
It was just a really awkward moment.
Well, see, that's what I was wondering. Like, but I actually thought it was gonna be the other way.
What do you mean?
The mom of the you know how some moms don't know like what their kid's actually doing.
Oh. And
then to like hear some of the lyrics.
Well, Big's mom was Jamaican, so like a Jamaican mother is never gonna be embarrassed of their kid. Like, fuck you, what do you know about him? She was like, my son's a multi-millionaire, who the fuck are you?
Are you like that? Kids could never embarrass you?
Well, I have my own standards, but like, if somebody on the outside was to judge my kids, like, yeah, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Even if I was embarrassed about it, if somebody came and made it an issue, like, instantly, I'd be like, the fuck out of here. Not embarrassed at all. I hope he does it again to you. I hope he pees on your lawn again.
You're bad.
Type of person I am,
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm not like
completely no objectivity when it comes to my kids. I understand that. Okay, so yeah, this was a very straightforward song, and I was like, whoa, this is interesting. And I'm also very curious as to.
I thought it was so nice.
Why the True Cult people had us do that? Well, go ahead.
I just thought it was really nice. Like, I remember there was actually like this Christian song that was, it basically, the person, like how you don't know how your life affects other people. And I used to listen to it a lot, and then I would like bawl my eyes out. It was like a missionary, and like when the person died and they went to heaven, like these people started coming up to him, and he was basically, Steve, when I say it, it makes me cry. The guy came up to him and said, like, I know that you don't know who I am, but he said one time a missionary came to your church and like his pictures made you cry, and so you didn't have much money, but you gave what you had anyway, and Jesus took the gift you gave, and that's why I'm here today. So he just said thank you for giving to the Lord, like for just putting your money somewhere else other than for yourself and stuff. And so like that like influenced me a lot as a kid, like because I would even tithe my parents taught us to like give money to other missionaries or churches or whatever from a very young age, and so like I always had like this. It's funny because going to church felt like a chore to me, but giving my tithe was something I always wanted to do from my heart.
Yeah.
So so just thinking like what like here is this guy, and he helps this person in a bad, he begging for a penny to survive, somebody in a bad situation. And we had the amazing blessing of being able to be that and do that with people, like so other people just hear about, oh, like there was this person that went and helped this homeless person, and like we did that shit, you know, like we had, and there's like the real like, whoa, that's so amazing, like and then there's the down and out grime of the situation that you don't know until you're there, like, oh, that sounds so nice to sit with a homeless person and talk to them for hours, but when they smell like urine and poop, and you're smelling that the whole time, but you're just loving them as a person, you know what I'm saying? Like there's sacrifices that go with it, but then at the same time there's, you know, and I'm not saying every homeless person smells like that.
I remember a guy, we used to call him he had a nickname, but he smelled like that all the time. He would all just, the time. You know, and it was just like, he was just, I remember thinking to myself, like, what happened to him that he was so beat down that he didn't even care to go to the bathroom, piss on the side of the street.
I know.
That's what they would do. He would just go on himself and then he'd just walk around like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, he was.
You know.
But there was a lot of them, but he was
a particular
guy. You knew when he was around.
He'd walk in the door and you could just...
Yeah, but he had family in another state. Remember, he was leaving that time and stuff, and
because his grandbaby was born or something like that.
Yeah, but you know, initially it's like, oh, we're helping these people, and then like you get to the point where you see past them. Yeah, you see past it, and they're a regular person, and you start looking for them when they're around. Mm-hmm. I remember like he wouldn't be around for a while, and he'd sleep on the street and all that.
I know.
So, you know, and you'd hear some random person dies. Remember that time, guy fell off a bridge, he drowned and all this, and you don't know if it's your guy.
Right.
Because they have street names, but they don't, you know.
They don't go around saying what their actual name is.
Yeah, they all had street names. So, like, I think I know like 5 people, like, what their actual name was.
And secondly, they don't always publicize when one of these people dies because they're not, you know.
It's not even significant.
It's not significant to them. Like, the heroin epidemic is so big.
Yeah.
Like, but you don't, it's not like every day you read in the paper how many people died of a heroin overdose.
Yeah, that girl.
You know, but we would hear the stories, you know.
Yeah. And this girl died on the bench. Remember that? She was she on the bench and she froze. There was then there was Pat. I will say his name. Remember Pat? When we first opened up, and he would come in. He would work these wood things. You know.
He would dig in the dumpsters and find wood that other people had thrown away, and he would salvage it and make these little wooden creations out of it.
Yeah, and he'd just make all the stuff, and then you tell him about Jesus, and he'd have his little egg sandwich. He didn't really want anything to do with it. It just, and then he'd come in. He built this big
wishing well
thing, and we're like, okay.
We didn't know what to do with it. And we displayed it though.
Oh yeah.
We had to like build shelves because he had something
just for his stuff. Yeah, but it was just like. He was on disability, public housing, like he couldn't really, he was always sick, always. And I just remember.
He was a hard worker.
He worked to the bone. I just remember thinking like, man, you just knew he wasn't going to be around for long. Yeah. Because he was just always sick.
I actually kind of thought we had longer with him than we did. Yeah. And it was interesting too because he like made like these, you know, and like I never remembered seeing any of the pieces and thought to myself, you could sell that. Like all of it was just, well, that's really sweet. And but the last piece that he made for us was this cross. But the way that there was like 2 crosses that were holding up one big cross.
Yeah, it was like 2 crosses and then one big cross, and
But it was like. It was good.
It was amazing. It was the best thing he'd ever done.
It was literally the best thing.
It's the best thing he'd ever done.
Yeah.
And that was the last one he gave us before he died. And I used to always have it on the little thingy. Yeah. That's my guy. Yeah, I used to touch it before I'd start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the last one, and it was kind of like God was like, he's good. He's all right.
Yeah.
You know, like, we got through to him.
Yeah.
You know. You can never tell.
Yeah.
But, you know.
We had like it was crazy. Like we had like homeless people that we would bring over. We were just friends at the time, and like I would cook a meal, and we would just talk to them, hang out with them, watch movies or whatever with them and stuff, and like let them use the shower or let them, you know, use the washing machine and stuff like that. And like you think, oh wow, Vin and Sori are really good people. I'm telling you, it's you feel so happy when you get to help somebody like that. It's almost, you almost feel like you're selfish for helping them.
Yeah.
You know, to see them all cleaned up and a nice meal. And
some of them, you know, they're out in the street. It's exhausting.
oh my word, to go around and go
you
from this
always have to
spot
watch
to
your
that
back,
spot.
and
Yeah.
somebody's always trying to, other street person's trying to take your shit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And this one dude had his kids, like it was just him and his kids, and they were killing him. Like,
I know.
I guarantee.
He was so good to them, though.
Guaranteed, they taken
were
15
grown
years
kids.
off this guy's life.
They weren't like children.
For
Like,
sure.
they were grown kids.
Yeah,
Like,
guaranteed.
but oh yeah, for sure.
15 years off of his life.
Yeah.
And yeah,
He was so good with them.
Invited him. Oh, he loved him
Yeah.
in his own way, you know.
Oh yeah.
We invited him over and made sure that the kids heard about it.
Yeah.
They were like, hell fucking no, you guys aren't. Stay where you are. Give your dad a break.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong?
Yeah, he liked it. I
he
enjoyed
did.
it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And they were so polite too. When they would come over, you know, there's like normal manners that like just generally people have when you're at somebody else's house, and then there's kind of like the above and beyond. Like they would be like above and beyond. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. It just stole your heart, you know. And then they would offer. Sometimes they would offer to do the dishes, but I just wanted them to rest. I'm like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, do they want that experience of being in a home and washing dishes?
Being a
like
part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
you know?
a regular family, you know?
Yeah, so. But yeah, it was cool. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
If you ever get the opportunity, the opportunity's there in your city. I mean, obviously, it's just, but if you take the opportunity, I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Next time you see somebody out holding a sign, stop and talk to them.
Yeah, he had some really crazy experiences, that
He
guy.
did.
He was a firefighter in
Yeah.
New York. And he was there during 9/11 and all that shit. And a lot of his boys.
He was like on the oh look at Harry now.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, he was in a bad fire accident.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what started him on the
Yeah,
path.
he fell through the
the floors fell.
yeah, he almost died.
Trashed his freaking back and
Yeah,
stuff.
he never recovered.
You were never recover from something like that. And so then it just started, you know, and then his wife had passed away, and it was just a lot, you know, for one person. And then
People get raw deals in life sometimes.
Yeah.
He definitely got a raw deal,
Yeah.
but he made the best of it. You know?
I mean, there were people that we saw that they could friggin' work a deal. You know what I mean? Like all the time they were scamming. They were
Always.
so it was like you saw both. You saw people that were downright down and out, and life just wasn't going good for them, and they were holding signs. And then there were other people that were holding signs, and it was just a scam, you know.
Yeah. And it's not for us to.
How can we know? How can you know something like that?
It's not
You
for
gotta
us
just,
to know.
we gotta just do what we gotta do, and
So this guy, he gives to someone, and he says, and the angels show up. There's 3 angels show up to his bed. The first one says, "Don't be afraid. I'll give you immortality and grace for your soul." The second one had eyes of gold. She gave me my wings. The third one gave all wisdom an angel could bring. So that's like when a good person dies, they become an angel. So
that's a bad idea.
So then I thought to myself, okay, so these angels, maybe they were people before, and now they're showing up to give this guy his wings, you know. Which when we're talking about Maynard's mom, you know, is that big line, that strong line where Maynard says, "Give me my wings," you know, because it's like,
forgot about that.
yeah, it's like the graduation of his mother because she was an angel, and it's like, in Christianity, it's actually that would be a demotion because in Christianity, when this is all over, you're actually above the angels.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a really interesting take on things, but it's a cool it's one of those things where it's like. I like the concept. Like, obviously, I don't, the jot and tittle, theologically, it's not correct that you become an angel, but, whatever. Mm-hmm. And you could look at it like he did this thing and it earned him something, which again is I was having a conversation with I had a Bible study with one of my guys and from the channel, and it's our human instinct to say, oh, if you're a good person, you do something good, then you go to heaven, and you know, he kind of earned his wings or whatever. But we kind of discovered that that's actually not the message of Christ or the Bible at all. Mm-hmm. And so it's like,
were you recording that discussion?
No, I didn't record the discussion. It was just like a one-on-one thing with a big homie. But it's interesting though. It's like the angel shows up and says, you know, grace for your soul. Which, from a Christian perspective, grace is God basically overlooking. Mm-hmm. God is overlooking your wrongdoing, and so I like that because it's like there's kind of the idea that he's being rewarded for being a good person, but then there's also the idea that he still needs grace for his soul. Yeah. He still has wrongdoing that God has to overlook, even though he did that big thing.
Because the good doesn't take away the bad.
That's perfect. Yeah. Like, because that's like pretty much closer in line with Christianity, which is do all this good stuff for people. Yeah. Love your neighbor because your neighbor images God. Mm-hmm. And you can't say that you love God who you have not seen if you don't love your neighbor who you can see. Right. Who's in the image of God. Right. So it's like, it's true, like, be good, but at the same time, it's like you still need grace for your soul. Mm-hmm. And, you know, from a Christian perspective, that's where the cross comes in. It's like, you know, you have the life of Jesus to give you an example of goodness. And then you have the death of Jesus to give you the grace for your soul. Mm-hmm. You know? And so I thought that it was a beautiful story. And the whole time I'm like, you know? Yeah, what's happening? Yeah. And then I wasn't on the edge. Like, I wasn't thinking something bad was going to happen. I was like, oh, a nice one. Yeah. Well, but again, it's like one of those things where, you know, if you have a prejudice, and, you know, prejudice is prejudging. If you prejudge, oh, it's metal, and they have an album called Lucifer Rising. They do. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Then you know, you immediately say that they're completely away from God. But I don't know, man. These guys, a lot of these metal guys, I just feel like they're very, very close to God in their own way. You know, and that's what I was talking about, like with my friend that I was doing the Bible study with, and he was talking about how he was resisting a lot of, you know, the religion that was given to him. Yeah. And he's like. He was kind of like, what you're talking about is new. I've never heard of this like this before. Version, yeah. And of course, I wasn't doing the Vin version. It was just a Bible. So there's nothing special about the way I was doing it. But I guess he'd never, you know, whatever. But the way that the way that it was communicated to him, he said, I never heard this before like this. And he was like, and he resisted against it. And I said, well, you know, I think that's a way of actually fighting for God to some degree. You know, and sometimes when people say, when metalheads say, or my atheist friends say, like, oh, if God's like that, fuck this shit. Yeah. I think God's up there going, yeah. Because a lot of the God that we portray to people is not who God is. And so when people are fighting against it, they're actually fighting for God, whether they, That's a really interesting thought. Yeah. So a lot of these people are fighting for God. Like, you know, why should Nurgle go out and speak out against religious hypocrisy? Like, we should be doing it. No, I agree. So if we won't do it. We do. Yeah, we do. That was a whole lot. Not all the Christians do. But everybody's too insecure to actually say what they really think. Yeah. It was like, this is going to seem really off subject, but like, I was at I was at the store today with somebody, and like, so this discussion of race came up, and the person was just saying like that they were surprised that I ended up marrying somebody that was black because they were the person that was always like into that, and I never really was, and so I was like, yeah, I mean now. Oh, shout out to me. I'm like, now though, I'm like, I could never. Not, I can see how like you kind of get like obsessed with the melanin. Hey, Stephen Nealis. How do you like that? Stephen Nealis is my resident white supremacist. Oh. He's mad at Alec. He's like, your friend Alec doesn't know anything about genetics. Okay.
All right.
But go ahead.
So anyway, so I was like, well, the cashier heard us talking, and then, well, because the person said, "Did you tell Vin that like I used to think like that when I was younger?" And I said, "Oh, of course I did." I said that was part of my defense as to why I wasn't a racist back in the day with my family, you know what I mean? And so the person was like laughing, you know, and then anyway, the cashier says, everybody's a racist these days. Everybody's getting blamed for being a racist. None of us are racist, but everybody wants to say that we all are.
No,
and
that guy is a legit racist.
Yeah, I know. I said, please. I said, I don't have a problem saying we're racist. I am. I do recognize race. And I think we should recognize race because I said if we get away from races all over the place and we try to all pretend that we're one race and we all look the same, it's completely delusional. I said there's so much beauty in like different races and different cultures, and we should celebrate it rather than trying to hide it and pretend it doesn't exist. And so the people are like, yeah, that's true. And I said, plus we'll all be worshiping around God's throne, and there'll be different races there. And the guy was like, but anyway, my point with that is,
yeah. What the hell is your point? You're taking a very circuitous route.
And now I'm forgetting my point.
I think you just wanted to tell me that story because you hadn't told me that story.
I did want to tell you the story, but I could have waited till after. No, It was just that you don't know, like, damn, what was my point? It was, what were we saying right before
Prejudging
that?
people.
No, just that people think that you have to think a certain way, and that, like, sometimes it's actually very logical when you just say, we should celebrate races. Why should we all pretend that you're not? Should I pretend that you're not black?
Of course, Your Grace. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell it has to do with this song.
But I think that it was saying something about the religion or something like that. I can't remember. Well, if I remember, can I pin a comment?
Yeah, I mean, it's our channel.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if you can pin on your own thing.
Yeah, you can make a comment and then pin it. Pin your own comment.
Okay, well, if I remember how I was connecting this, I'll pin my comment.
Yeah, maybe 2 bonus points to anybody that can somehow tie this conversation into the song. That would be great. What's interesting is I don't like slow guitar work. I don't like, and I guess that's part of Doom. Maybe that's the signature of Doom. It's just this slow, like, trudging through molasses guitar work.
You didn't like it?
No, what I'm saying is I don't, but I do. I like when these guys do it, and I like when Sabbath does it.
Oh, I see.
But generally when I hear slow stuff like that, I really generally don't like it.
Oh.
I usually like, Ben Webb will be like, there's Vin again, chug-a-lug-a-lug-lug-lug Vin. You know, like the band that we listen to, the private government band or whatever that we listen to. Like, they just came out fast.
Oh, yeah.
That's the shit that I like. I don't really like slow tempo shit like that, but this one I actually really, really enjoyed.
I did too. And I really liked his voice.
Yeah. By the way, private government's getting a lot of really good feedback, and I'm happy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. 104 thumbs up, only 11 thumbs down, and people are really liking it. I'm glad. Plus, they're gonna send us shirts.
Did the Underground Metal Elitist say?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What do you give the song?
8.5 or a 9.
Solid 8.5 for me as well. Solid 8.5 for me as well.
Okay.
They did really, really good with this. Good job, fellas. Good job, True Cult. That's the way it's supposed to work. Then out.
Sori out.
Gone.